Nightmare Ariel, and you're watching Mission Boxing Today on YouTube.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? Now, I want to do a follow-up video to that interview that Jarrell Miller and Deontay Wilder had on Sirius XM at the fights. Entertaining. I thought it was very entertaining. Thought it was very funny. I read all the comments left on that video from you fans, and a lot of mixed reactions. You know, a lot of people think that this Miller kid should shut the hell up. Who is he to call out the WBC title holder Deontay Wilder? He's begging for money. You know, some people said I've never heard of this guy. Some people said he's a fat piece of you know what. You know what I mean? People were going in on him, man. Going in on him. Then I've read some comments. Some people are saying, hey, both of these guys are bums. I think Deontay Wilder and this Miller kid, they're both bums. Here's what I think. As far as Miller calling out Deontay Wilder, this is nothing new. Some of you may say, what are you talking about? It's nothing new. It's nothing new. I'm going to leave this video in the description box. December 25th, 2009. Jarrell Miller was 1-0 as a heavyweight fighter. He called out Deontay Wilder when Wilder was 8-0. He dedicated the whole video to calling out Deontay Wilder, another 8-0 prospect like himself. So when he calls him out today, it doesn't surprise me. I don't think this is a money grab. I don't think this is a, he's trying to attach his name to Deontay Wilder, so to speak, because he has the title. I think this call-out is genuine. I think it's sincere. Now, does that mean he can beat Wilder because he's been calling him out since 2009? Of course not. But I'm not going to say that he's calling him out only because Wilder has a title and he's trying to attach his name to him. I don't believe that. You know, if you've been calling a guy out when he was 8-0 before he even was considered a damn contender that can win the title, I think it's valid. You know what I mean? So I'm going to leave that in the description box and you guys can take it for what it's worth. But I'm just putting that out there because I think a lot of people, they're misinformed by that. They just think this guy just came out of nowhere and now he's calling out Deontay Wilder. He's been calling him out, man, for a while. All right. Now, during that interview, Wilder said that he already beat up on Miller. He said they had a sparring match in Alabama some years ago. He didn't specifically say when, so I don't know if it was 2 years ago, 5 years ago. I'm not sure. But he said they sparred before, and he said Wilder said he beat him up pretty good, and he gave him a concussion, and he sent him to the hospital for 5 hours. That's what he said. Miller didn't confirm that. He didn't deny it either. So, I don't know. And then right after that was said, when it was Miller's turn to speak on the radio show, he said that he was out of shape, and he still gave Deontay Wilder that work. Wilder didn't confirm that he got that work from Miller. He didn't deny it either. I don't know. Now, if you're a big Wilder fan, you're going to just take what Wilder said and fuck what Miller said, and, he sent him to the hospital, beat his ass, knocked him out. Cool. If you're a Wilder detractor, then you're going to think, hey, this Miller kid gave him that work when he was out of shape. He was whooping Wilder's ass. So, unless, there is some footage or there is somebody that was at the gym that day to watch the sparring session go down, as fans, we really don't know what happened. We're hearing two sides of the story from both of these fighters. Nonetheless, it's sparring. Gym wars always happen. So a gym war is a gym war. So as far as that's concerned, I don't know what the hell happened. Only thing I do know is they sparred. You know what I mean? It didn't end nobody's career. They're both still here standing. So either of these gentlemen didn't have no long-time effect from this situation, this gym war. Now, speaking of gym wars, another thing that a lot of people don't know about Miller is he was in the Klitschko camps. He's been in 2 Klitschko camps. When very early in his career, when he was 1-0 and when he was 2-0, he was in that David Haye camp, getting Vladimir ready before he fought David Haye. And there was an interview with Jarrell Miller on YouTube. Maybe I'll leave that in the description box too, where he was talking about. The interview was on Sky Sports, and they were just asking Jarrell Miller what he thought of Klitschko in camp and what did he believe David Haye, chances are fighting Vladimir, so on and so forth, things like that. And then he was also in the Vladimir Klitschko Sam Peter camp when Klitschko was getting ready for that second fight with Peter. So he's been around the block as far as being in some top camps. So I give him credit for that, and I'm going to touch on everything in this video. So I'm just getting through some of the things that I like about Jarrell Miller. Miller also said in that interview that he had when him and Wilder was going at it, he said he's not some, basketball player or, American football player that couldn't make it to the pros in that sport. So now he's, trying out boxing. And he's right about that. He's started with Muay Thai and kickboxing, and he was doing that when he was 14 years old. And then he picked up boxing around the same time, 15 years old, competed in the Golden Gloves, fought guys like Adam Konatsky, who's an undefeated prospect right now, who I've done videos on, Al Haymon fighter, Polish kid from New York. Tor Hammer, he fought him in the amateurs, sparring, so on and so forth. So a lot of fans, for whatever reason, and I've done my first video on Miller was a few years ago, and Miller's not just some guy that's just talking shit with an undefeated record. I mean, he has a combat background. As a K1 kickboxer, he was 21 wins, 2 losses, 9 KO victories. His 2 losses were to Mirko Cro Cop. A lot of people say he fought an old, washed-up Cro Cop. He couldn't even beat him. He's a bum. I guess if that's how you want to put it, but only 2 losses to a legend. Yes, I've seen Cro Cop get knocked out in MMA, and I know he was well past his prime when he fought Miller. But just the fact that Miller was able to get in there with him and go the 3 rounds, and I never looked at Miller as this, K1 superstar, you know what I mean? So I look at that as more just him in combat sports, training himself. He's been in the combat arena, so I give him props for that. So I know that this guy just loves the fight. You know what I mean? And he isn't just some guy that was in another sport that's just picking up boxing right now. So those are the things that I like about Miller. As far as his shit talking, and people say that he should, achieve something before he's able to talk shit, then I guess that's just your preference, man. Because a lot of fighters, even some of our favorites, man, like Ali, and even if you want to go nowadays to a guy like Tyson Fury, man, go look at some of Tyson Fury's press conferences before some of his fights before he fought Vladimir. Look at the Chisora and some of those pressers, man. The Cunningham. This dude's flipping over tables, talking shit. You would think, like, you would look at this and you would look at the video and say, who the hell does this guy think he is? And a lot of the same things were being said about Tyson Fury on his rise up. He's fat, he's out of shape, doesn't have enough power. Remember? A lot of shit was said about Fury. Now he's the man that beat the man, that beat the man, that beat the man. You know what I mean? So I'm okay with guys talking shit. I'm okay with it, man. Even before you achieve, I'm okay with it. Because 2 things are going to happen. You're either going to get put on your ass and get embarrassed and get your mouth shut, or you're going to succeed and prove all the naysayers wrong. 2 things are going to happen. And to me, I'm just patient enough as a fan to just sit back and whatever happens, just let it happen, man. That's just me. Some people like the humble warrior approach. I like both. I mean, it's funny, man. When I used to do videos in 2010, 2011, didn't get that many views on a lot of my videos, my heavyweight videos. People would often leave me comments like, oh, division's boring, no personality. Vladimir and Vitaly, they're just boring. They don't say anything. They don't hype up the fights. It's just boring. Boring. That's all I kept hearing is boring, 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 boring. Now we can have guys like Dillian White, Jarrell Miller, even some of the old timers that are hanging around, Briggs and Tarver, Tyson Fury before he won the title. Deontay Wilder was yelling "Bomb Squad" before he even won the title. He was talking and, probably not as much as Miller and some of these guys, but his personality was shining through. And it's funny, man, like now we have guys with personality, with flair that talk shit, that, have exciting interviews and sound bites, and now people want those guys to shut up. It's like it's like, okay, well, it was boring a few years ago. Now you want them to shut up. So And again, I know some of you, you often tell me in the comment section, hey, I want to see this guy achieve something first, then he can talk shit. If you're a shit talker, you're just a shit talker, man. Some of the best shit talkers in the world were shit talkers when they were 1-0. To me, if you're a guy that has to win the title first and then talk shit, to me, you're not being genuine. That's not who you are. You're trying to turn into somebody else. If you're a humble warrior, then you're just a humble. Evander Holyfield was a humble warrior throughout his career. His ups, his downs, his highs, and his lows. That's who he was. He never faked it. You know what I mean? So I want Miller to be who he is. And if you guys click on that link that shows him calling out Deontay Wilder when he was 1-0 and Wilder was 8-0, his personality is the same. He was just as cocky and just as extroverted in that video that he is right now. It's the same person, and to me that's genuine. So I like that about him. It wasn't like he was being humble in that video, and then now all of a sudden he's being this boisterous, saying belligerent things. No, he's always been like that. He's always had this quirky type of personality, man. So to me, it's just him being him. Now, as far as his weight, people are saying he's 296 pounds. Every fight he's gaining more weight, and you're right. You are right. He came in 13 more pounds for Fred Cassie than he did the Nick Guevas fight. Nick Guevas came in at 283. Cassie came in at 296. And I've said in pretty much all my Miller videos, and I'm gonna stay consistent, I like to see him fight closer to 250, 255. So the 296 really surprised me. I remember he had a fight. He fought Joey Daweko. 30 days prior to that fight, no, literally 30 days prior to that fight, he was in the 240s. He came into the fight with Daweko at 286, I believe. He gained like 40 pounds in 30 days. So I think he carries the weight pretty decently, and I've said that before. When I looked at the weigh-in, when I looked at the Cassie weigh-in, I was looking at his physique, and I'm like, damn, he doesn't look that much heavier than he did for the Guevas fight. But on the scale, it says he's 13 pounds heavier. Even some of the other fights I've seen him in, Mirlamov, and some of these other fights that he came in at 270, he looks the same at 296. So I don't know if this dude has something in his pockets for the weigh-in. I'm not sure, man. And when I look at him, and when I look at his body, it's well proportioned. He has huge legs, huge thighs. He has big shoulders. You know what I mean? His gut isn't necessarily hanging over his trunks, although he does have his trunks pulled up a little bit higher than normal, but he just seems to carry the weight well. Now, will he carry the weight well when he's in there with higher opposition, guys who are better, guys who have probably better stamina than him? That's something we're going to see. That's something we're going to have to wait and see. But as far as fighting guys like Mirlamov and Donovan Dennis and Fred Cassies of the world, he carries the weight well, and he didn't look like he was fatiguing in any of those fights. The Fred Cassie fight, people say, oh, he lost the first 2 rounds. I thought he lost the first round. Second round was debatable, and then the third round I thought he won, and then Cassie quit. So I don't think he lost the first 2 rounds. I thought he lost the first round. But in that fight, though, he was getting hit flush with some shots. Cassie was landing some really good shots. He was making it difficult for Miller. He was switching from righty to lefty. You know how Cassie fights, man. He'll be in southpaw 1 minute, and then he'll switch over to orthodox, throw a right hand and a left hook, and then switch back over to southpaw and throw a lead straight left hand. I mean, he just does all these quirky things in the ring, man. So it's kind of hard to get his timing down. So it might take you a round or two. And that has been evident with everybody he's fought, from even the fight he got knocked out with Amir Mansour. It wasn't Mansour didn't go in there and just steamroll him. He had to work for that knockout. Brazil, Areola, even Hughie Fury. I mean, they all had to, they had to catch his rhythm and catch his timing, man. And some of those fights, people thought Cassie won, like the Areola fight. I thought Cassie won that fight. I thought Brazil should at least been a draw, So. And in that fight, I was looking at Miller's stamp because he came in at 296. So I was looking to see if he'll be tired after a round or two. And I'm watching it. And I watched the fight again yesterday because I have it on DVR. His mouth remained pretty much closed. He wasn't gasping and breathing hard when he got in the corner. In between rounds, he kept his mouth closed, kept his defense intact, and he just stayed on the attack and was walking Fred Cassie down. Cassie claims he hurt his hand. I'm not in his shoes, so if he hurt his hand, fair enough, but I didn't see where he hurt it, or I didn't see him wincing that his hand was hurting him. I just seen him wince when the round was over, and he told his corner he didn't want no more. His legs were starting to go. Miller was killing his body. He was banging his body, beating his body up with hooks and uppercuts, and it looked like Cassie's legs were gone. Then his hand being hurt, to me, it looked like his legs were gone, and he was doing the heavy breathing. That was so funny about it. It's like Miller's the one that weighs 296 pounds, but Cassie looks like the one that's doing the tiring, So, with all that said, though, I think 296 is a bit much. I'm going to keep it 100. I think it's a bit much. But again, he carries it well, and I was making a comparison to him carrying this weight and still being athletic, like the way a defensive end would in pro football or something. And people are telling me, well, how long does a defensive end have to run? It's like, that's not, I'm not saying he has the best stamina, but he's still athletic. It's not like it's just fat, jiggle rolls and hanging hanging over his trunks and under his underarm. I don't see all that, but I do think that 296 is a bit much. Now, in comparison with Deontay Wilder, now, of course, Miller has not fought a Malik Scott, a Johan Duhaupas, Chris Arreola, or Stavern, or Arthur Spilka level type of guy yet. He hasn't. So I like to see him in one of those fights. As good of a shit talker as he is, I don't think he should, necessarily talk his way into a title shot. I want to see him in an elimination bout. It's only right. And even he said after the fight with Cassie that he wants to get in there with somebody that's ranked and then get himself a title shot. Some fans feel even with that, fighting one ranked guy or one elimination bout, he shouldn't get a title shot. Fair enough, but I can't really blame the kid if that's what he wants to do. I mean, although Chris Arreola had he's been through his slew of, even when he got the title shot with Vitaly, and just his slew of opponents that he had to go through, Stavern twice and people like that. But hell, man, Chris Arreola got a title shot with Deontay Wilder 2 fights removed from his fight with, guess who? Fred Cassie. Fought Fred Cassie, then he fought Mansour. Mansour's another guy I like to see Miller fight. I think that'd be a good fight. But he's fought Mansour. I'm sorry, Brazil fought Fred Cassie, then he fought Mansour, then he got a title shot. I'm sorry. Arreola fought Fred Cassie, then he fought Kaufman, then he got the title shot. Hughie Fury just fought Fred Cassie, and then guess who him and his father, Peter Fury, was calling out? Anthony Joshua. They said, hey, we want to fight Joshua. Eddie Hearn said, we would like to fight him, but we don't know what's going to happen in November when Tyson Fury and Hughie Fury go to that UKAD hearing that they have to attend, as far as the whole, alleged nandrolone traces were found in their samples. So they have to go see what's going on with that in November. So they're kind of, Hearn and Josh, well, Hearn is kind of sketchy trying to schedule a fight with Hughie. So I can't get mad at Miller. Shit, when people fight Cassie, they're usually getting title shots, right? Or at least another fight, then a title shot. You know what I mean? So with that said, he's just following suit. You know what I mean? But realistically, though, I like to see him fight somebody that's also rated. Now, whether you like it or not, or you don't think rankings mean anything or whatever, that's fine. But the facts are, Miller is rated in the top 9 by the WBO, WBA, and the IBF. Those are facts. All right, so another fact is Showtime, CBS Sports Network. They're all showing interest in this young man. And I call him young because I got like 8 years on him, but on this grown man, big baby. They have, they're showing interest, man, by putting this guy as the headliner and showcasing his fights. You know what I mean? So it's not just him talking. Obviously, some people see something there. A lot of fans don't see anything when they see Miller. They say, don't move his head enough. He's slow. He's this, he that. And fine, that's fair enough. But guess what, man? Everybody has flaws. people act as if, you know, when one of these prospects are coming up, people, oh, he's not good enough. He doesn't have this. It's like, well, shit. A lot of people thought Tyson Fury didn't have a lot of things either. You know, it's, you know, before he won that title, man, go look at some people's um, go look at some of the Tyson Fury prediction videos when he's fighting Chisora and other guys. People probably wasn't even making prediction videos for Fury back then because nobody was really paying attention to the heavyweights besides me and a handful of others. But just go look at some past videos of Fury. Go look at some of the fights on YouTube and read some of the comments from 3-4 years ago. People are saying some bad things about him. You know, he's not in shape. He doesn't have power. He talks a lot of shit. Blah 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 blah. Now he's the man to beat the man to beat the man. Can Miller do that? I'm not sure, man. Time will tell. You know, but I guess we have to see him in there with more guys. I'm not ready to anoint him, you know, the top prospect or anything like that. A lot of people ask me, why do you do all these videos on Miller? What do you see in him? He must be one of your favorite, or obviously he's your favorite, or blah, blah, blah. It's not so much, and like I said, it's not so much he's my favorite. I cover the heavyweight division. How fun, you know, there's more to cover in the division, in my opinion, than just the top 5. There's other guys, man, and all these prospects I cover doesn't mean because I covered them or did a video on them they're going to win a title. But I think they're all interesting prospects, man, that could possibly make some noise or could just make for some good mid-tier type of fights, some good elimination bout type fights. You know what I mean? So I like those type of fights, you know, and I like covering prospects, as you all know that. So it's going to be hit or miss with a lot of these guys, man. Look at Deontay Wilder before he won a title. Look at all the shit people were talking about Deontay Wilder before he fought Sparring. Can't fight off his back foot. What's going to happen when he get pushed backwards? His defense is leaky. He leaves his chin exposed, so on and so forth. A lot of those things are true. But just because you have some deficiencies doesn't mean you can't win a fucking title. So some of you guys with all this whole, you know, some of you guys make it seem as if there's like, you know, these perfect heavyweights that are running around right now. Please tell me who these perfect heavyweights are. I've heard people a lot, and not just one or two, but a slew of fans talk about weaknesses from Joshua, Povetkin, Klitschko, Fury, all these guys. All these guys can be exploited. Klitschko, a little older, 40 now, you know, coming towards the end of things with his career. But to me, and some of you may disagree, and that's fine, but I think a lot of these guys who you guys think are just a superior top 3 with no flaws type of heavyweights, look, man, I think the gap in talent, I think the talent is a little bit closer than some of you guys think. That's just my opinion. Just when I break down these guys, and I'm a type of uploader, man. I've never stopped watching the division, so I wasn't one of these American guys that, you know, as soon as you know, Lennox Lewis, the Tyson Holyfield type of era ended, I stopped watching the division when the Klitschko brothers came. No, I kept watching. I've never stopped watching the division. Since the late 80s, I've never stopped watching it. Now, I will admit, though, pre-YouTube, some of the Klitschko fights and some of these European guys and everything like that, me being in the States, I couldn't watch a lot of their fights. So I'm not going to lie to you like I was watching, you know, some overseas fights when they were not being televised here in the States. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to lie about that. So when YouTube started popping in 07, 08, then I was able to go back and watch some of those overseas fights to, you know, bridge the gap of what I've missed. But I never stopped watching the division, man. So now as an American fan, I will say it was kind of depressing not having a good American heavyweight like a Tyson or Holyfield or, you know, I'm not going to lie to you. It was kind of like, damn, we have nobody. Then we start getting, you know, some guys, Malcolm Tan, and Brewster and Rockman, and when James Toney, you know, I mean, we did have some, but we didn't have like that Tyson Holyfield, you know what I mean, because it was being ruled by the Klitschkos. Briggs came in and won the title, so on and so. I mean, we did have some guys here and there. Then when Roy Jones fought Ruiz back in the day, he won a piece of the strap. But we know Lennox Lewis was the man at that time, you know. But Chris Bird, I mean, we did have some guys that stepped in. Then we had some prospects that came up around that era. What was the dude's name? Who was that I had an eye on back in the day? Calvin Brock. Remember him, the boxing banker? Him. Um, but let me stay on topic with Miller, though. Jamel McCline. There was a lot of dudes, man. But, so, that's the reason why, I do a lot of videos on Miller. Well, another reason is because, and this is what I was saying to a few people, is he makes his own news. Now that we're in the social media era, you got things like Periscope and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, Instagram. We don't necessarily, as fans, we don't necessarily have to wait on an article to be printed to hear about these guys. These guys just make their own news, like Dillian White. It's hard as an uploader and a person that covers the heavyweight division, primarily. It's hard not to do videos because Miller is always saying something. I'm gonna break Anthony Joshua's jaw. Wilder has toothpick legs. I can beat him. He's easy. Fury's this. He's that. Povetkin this. Povetkin that. I mean, it's hard not to do videos on him, man. You know what I mean? So whether he's right or wrong, I'm just getting his words out there. I'm not putting videos out because what he says is right or I believe he can do what he says he can do. I'm just putting this out there because it just adds some intrigue to the division. Like I said, people want fighters to only talk shit once they prove something. Fair enough, you know what I mean? But kind of like with Parker and Joshua, when I come out with a lot of videos about those guys, they're always in the damn headlines. Now, Parker isn't a shit talker like Dillian White and Miller, but his team there's always some type of article out there about him, so it's kind of hard not to do videos on him. Miller's one of those guys right now where it's kind of hard not to do videos on him. He's not the only guy I do videos on, so it's not like this is a Jarrell Miller channel. It's just that the guy talks, man, a lot. You know what I mean? So I guess we're going to have to see if somebody can shut him up, If Miller were to fight Wilder right now, I would favor Wilder. That reach, I think, will give Miller problems. I think that jab will give him problems. Wilder being able to move. There's some toughness in there that I can sense in Wilder. One thing about Wilder when he comes back that I'm going to keep an eye on, this is his third surgery on his right hand. We can't just sweep that under the rug as if like, oh, it doesn't mean nothing. He'll be back and he'll be all right. I don't know. Now, I did a video a while back, a few weeks ago, probably saying that when Wilder comes back, he's going to be using the Everlast Power Lock glove. Kind of a orthopedic glove, extra cushion for the knuckles, the whole hand, to try to preserve his hand, for one, and protect it. So I'm curious to see what Wilder's going to look like, man. Like, that right hand is one of his best weapons. I think one of his better weapons that he's developed over his last few fights, the last few years, is that jab. And I'm a sucker for a guy with a jab that can move a little bit. You know what I mean? Because you're not, like I always say, you're not going to be able to knock everybody out. So you may have to come with a different game plan. And if you're that tall with 83-inch damn reach, man, you should be able to have a very good jab. And that is something I think he can, give Miller problems with if they were to fight. So, and if guys like Cassie and some of these other guys I've seen Miller in with, if they can land their jab on him successfully, I know Deontay Wilder would be able to. You know what I mean? So I guess Miller would have to prove me wrong, man, if he was to fight Wilder. I would favor Wilder in that fight. I just need to see Miller in there with Johan Duhaupas type. Some of the guys that Wilder fought, some of those level type guys, Stavern, Molina, Spilka, Duhaupas, Scott. I like to see what he does against those type of guys. But I want to see Miller fight another undefeated prospect first, or fight a guy that maybe a former title contender, somebody that is also still rated by one of the sanctioned bodies. So wide range of fighters. I would want to see Miller fight anybody from a Gerald Washington to a David Haye to a Lucas Brown to a Andy Ruiz. I want to see him start fighting those guys. And he can string together, two of those type of wins, then we have to really start considering this guy, putting him in, some type of eliminator bout to earn a title shot. He would definitely have to be in a discussion as a serious contender. So what else did I want to cover in this video, man? But all in all, though, I thought the interview between the two guys was entertaining. I like those type of heated, standoffs or heated conversation between two fighters. Because Wilder's going to be out for a while, and this was kind of exciting to hear, because I just don't want to hear Wilder say, well, yeah, I'm hurt right now. I'm going to get in the gym, work hard, get my hand back right, and I can't wait to be back. And then give us a thumbs up and then smile. Like, I don't want to hear that shit all the time. Even though that's what he's going to do and he has to put those type of videos out there and those type of articles. But I want to hear some shit talking a little bit. I want to hear some, you know what I mean? As Deontay Wilder said, I want to hear the bronze bomber talk sometimes. You know what I mean? The Deontay Wilder, the businessman, yeah, we're going to hear him talk. But I want to hear the bronze bomber talk too. Just to add for that excitement that a lot of fans said that was not there during the Klitschko era. You know what I mean? And when I say that, I'm just referring to all the fans who were in my comment section telling me how boring those times were when I was making videos around then. Now it's totally different. You have a wide range of different personalities. I love it right now, man. And I loved it then too. I just felt as if shit. It's not Klitschko's problem to have a personality. Somebody needs to go in there and beat him. You know what I mean? And Fury was able to do it. But you guys let me know what you think about this. Oh, another thing. People are telling me I need to go and watch that Stavern and Miller situation. I actually did a video on that when that took place. Like the day it took place, I did a video about that. And to me, when I watched that, man, if some of you want to say that when Miller got to the gym at the heavyweight factory down in Florida, that he froze up when he got in front of Stavern. Did he froze? Hey, if that's what you saw, I can't tell you what you saw with your eyes. But what I saw, what I took away from it was, yes, Miller was being, boisterous and an extrovert like he is, talking shit. And Stavern, just more of a quiet guy, doesn't really seem like he gets into the, tongue wars. He doesn't really like to talk shit like that. And he jumped up off the, he was sitting on the ring and he got up, man, like he wanted to fight Miller right then and there, like fist fight him. And like I said, when that took place, I'm going to stay consistent. I don't want to see these guys fist fight, man. Like, I don't want to see a Riddick Bowe, Larry Donald situation or, the shit like Herbie Hyde used to get into. Like, I don't want to see that. I want to see, if anything, spar. If you're not going to spar, then, get paid for it, man. But it's fist fight, I didn't want to see that. So and Miller had been going at it with Stavern and Trevor. That's another fight I like to see, the Trevor Bryan fight, another undefeated heavyweight prospect. But they were going at each other on Instagram. And Miller said he's going to come down there and he wants to get some sparring in. So when he got down to the gym, I think, they were still talking shit, but, kind of smiling and talking shit at the same time. Kind of like a friendly competition, but a little bit of shit talking. Maybe I just look at it different because I just grew up around that, man. Like, I just grew up around, like, uncles and friends of mine just, playing basketball at the park or in a real college game or high school games I used to play in. It's just shit talking, man. It's nothing. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, or I didn't hear Stavern or Miller tell Stavern, I'm going to, smack your mama or some shit like that. Just talking shit. I think he said that Stavern had the title for a little bit before he lost to Wilder. But he was talking shit when he was saying it. Then, Stavern got mad and jumped off the ring, tried to get at him. Shannon Briggs, who Miller looks up to, both Brooklyn guys, was kind of in between them saying, nah, champ, not. Who wants to see these guys fist fight? Maybe some of you do, but I don't. I don't want to see a Mike Tyson, Mitch Green situation that happened back in the 80s at Dapper Dan. I don't want to see nothing like that, man. So, but it just seems like Stavern's not the one you want to just talk shit to. Whether you can beat him in the ring or not, he just doesn't seem like that type of guy. Just two different personality clashes, man. And Stavern took that shit to heart. You know what I mean? Like, he was dead ass about that. So, yes, I've seen that footage, man. And some people feel as if that Miller backed down or something. But, I mean, if that's what you saw, man. But to me, guys were between them, backing them up, and that's another fight that I like to see: Stavern versus Miller. But Stavern has other obligations. He's getting ready to fight Alexander Povetkin for that WBC interim position. So he has bigger fish to fry right now, man. But as far as Miller goes, I want to see more from him. And I just kind of did this video, man, to give my thoughts about Miller. Want to see more from him. I think he's good for the division. Will he become champion? I guess we'll have to sit and see. But the shit talking doesn't bother me any. You know, it's not taking food off my plate. Doesn't rile me up or make me feel any different. You know what I mean? Either he's going to be proven wrong and he's going to look foolish, or he's going to prove us wrong and some of you are going to have second thoughts about him. I guess you can add me in there too, because I'm not sure he can beat Fury and Wilder. But when he comes out with something entertaining or something that I can put out there to you guys that just get his words out there and just trying to rile up the division, I'm going to put it out there, man. But I definitely want to see him fight some quality opposition and see what he has, man. Just getting this out there, man. I'm out.